its best.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
A very warm welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for joining us for our show today. My name is Caro and you are watching Issues at Hand on Church of Uganda Family TV. We thank you so much for being a great audience right from when Good Morning Family started up to now, when we are getting into issues at hand, issues that affect us as the public, as Ugandans, as a society, a community, and these issues also help us live together in the future, but also for now. You know, now is when we prepare for the future, 10 years to come, 5 years to come, but of course we have to have a plan, and of course we know that government has been doing everything possible to come up with some of these plans. Now, before I get into the discussion of the day, allow me to remind you that Protea Hotel by Marriott is the place to be in case you are longing for some comfort and luxury in your life. For example, they do have very beautiful beds where you can go for accommodation with friends and family and spend a night or two. They have a spa and a gym where you can go and work out and stay fit, because it is good to stay fit and keep your health in check. They also have conferencing centers in case you have a conference and you are an organization and are looking for a place to have your conferences. They do have that, and they do provide as well services like swimming and many more services. Check them out in the heart of Entebbe, as well as of course you can always call them on the numbers that you saw on your screens and make reservations for all the services you might need from them. However, today we are talking about local governments in particular, and we know that local governments have come a long way, and it has been a long journey, but so far so good, and they are climbing to greater heights. We thank the Lord for that. But today particularly we are looking at the appeal to government to lift the ban on recruiting government workers, especially in local governments. Now this was started, I think, July 11th, when the Ministry of Finance first announced that it had closed off all recruitments for government staff. And we have a guest in studio, an expert in this topic, who is going to be giving us exactly what we need to know about the issue. His name is RichardOkuku, and he is the Secretary General for Uganda Local Governments Association. You're very welcome to studio this morning.
Thank you, and good morning to the viewers.
Yeah.
We're glad to be here at Family TV.
Okay.
And we thank the Lord for availing us the opportunity to be live on TV today.
Thank you so much. To start with, ULGA as an association, what is your mandate? What are you mandated to do? How are you mandated to carry out the call that has been given to you?
So to our viewers out there, I think I'll start with explaining what the Uganda Local Governments Association is,
okay,
and what we do. So we are an establishment of the local governments in Uganda. So all the 135 districts and over 2,000 sub-counties are our members, are what form the Uganda Local Governments Association. And you become a member through a resolution of council. Okay. So the entire district local government is a member of the Uganda Local Governments Association. We started way back in the early 90s, 1994. And so what we aim to look to see is a united voice for the local governments. So we want to see local governments united. We want to see local governments able to provide efficient and effective services to the population, to the citizen down there. So our interest looks at the citizen. So even as we advocate and advance the discussion For example, the topic that we will be getting into later as we go along in this program. So it is for the benefit of the common person, it is for the benefit of that citizen, that once that the ban is lifted, how will it benefit the citizen? How will the citizens get services? So we want to ensure that local governments can sustainably provide services to the citizens of this country.
Okay.
And so we do this through a number of advocacy platforms. So we advocate for the local governments. We represent the local governments on a number of platforms to ensure that the local government plight is represented and the local governments are recognized, and the contribution that they put to the nation building is recognized in this country. So that is who we are, the Uganda Local Governments Association, and we work with a number of partners. We work with other associations in the country. We have the Urban Authorities Association. We work with the Ministry of Local Government very well. We work with the Local Government Finance Commission. So we work with a number of government entities to ensure that we have better services provided to the common person on ground. So, and in brief, that's what I can probably mention. And then to also highlight that we have a strategic corporate plan that guides our engagement, that guides our actions. And this, of course, looks at strengthening the performance of local governments, the effectiveness. We want to ensure that the citizens can ride, they can drive, they can walk on safe roads, they can drink safe water, they have access to clean and safe water. We want to ensure that climate change is, the climate change impact is minimized, that the local governments have the capacity to respond to disasters. We want to also look at how do we promote climate sustainable production, agriculture in the local governments. And we want the local governments to have a role in promoting this. How do we achieve the sustainable development goals? So do the local governments have the capacity? And part of the capacity that we will talk about is the staffing. Okay. So when we get to the issues of recruitment, we'll also be talking about the ban and how it is affecting service delivery.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, you talked about two things. One, the strategic plan that you have as ULGA, and I'm wondering, has this strategic plan been able to yield some results so far? Because you've said you've been in office since 1994. So I'm thinking all these years, surely it must have yielded something.
So thank you. Just I think to also probably inform our viewers on what we've been able to achieve. So over the years, I think from the 1994, the advent of decentralization, when decentralization came in, there have been a number of achievements that have been registered by the Uganda Local Governments Association, in increasing local government financing over the years, although recently we have had declines in local government financing, but we have contributed to a number of policy discussions. We have ensured that the local government staffing structures have been reviewed. Local governments are provided with tools to support their work. We've, had a number of achievements. Okay. And just to probably highlight our corporate strategic plan that starts at 2021-22 to all the way to 26-27. So this period of time, we've been able to achieve quite a number of things. For example, I will not hesitate to highlight the fact that we held the annual conditional grants negotiations between the month of August to September of this year, and where we were able to represent the local governments very well, and we achieved quite a number of positive results from the negotiations. So the negotiations are guided under Article 193, subsection 3 or section 3 of the Constitution. And it provides that local governments shall engage, they shall negotiate with the central government on programs and the conditions for which these programs will be financed. So we are looking at the monies. How much money do we need to finance a program? For example, programs in the tourism sector, programs in production. So, and this year I will quickly highlight some of the key achievements that we were able to realize. For example, is one I will look at with Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. We've had a challenge over the years since 2010 when the government of Uganda enacted the urban planning, the Fiscal Planning Act. So we've seen that its implementation has not been forthcoming, and the local governments have had challenges with the staffing, they've had challenges with financing. So we did not have a conditional grant to support physical development planning. But the coming financial year 2024-25, so the Ministry of Lands committed that they will provide a 2 billion grant as a startup grant, conditional grant to physical development planning. And this is a welcome move because it means we are going to improve on our physical planning in our local governments. So we will avoid having structures that keep popping up in these areas that are not well planned. So we'll have enforcement happening, we'll have inspectors doing their work. So, and that is just, under one land. So with Ministry of Tourism, over the years we've had also challenges where local governments cannot monitor, we cannot promote tourism development because we did not have the capacity. But we want to appreciate government that are now, there are a number of tourism officers that have been recruited in local governments. Okay. But you see, they did not have a supportive budget. So for these negotiations and for the coming financial year 2024-25, we were able to secure 1.68 billion as a startup conditional grant to support tourism development. So local governments are going to be involved in tourism development, identifying the tourism sites, and then how do we beautify these tourism sites. It is very unfortunate that we had an incident that happened at in Kasese at the Queen Elizabeth National Park. Very unfortunate indeed. As a country, we understand that tourism is one of those sectors, if I may say, that generates quite a lot of revenue for us as a country. So it is unfortunate that at a time when we are raising again from COVID-19, from the Ebola pandemics, then we are raising and we get the rebels, the ADF rebels attacking. Doesn't really paint a good image for our country, but we trust that government will do everything possible to bring these culprits to book. And then for us to give the assurance to the tourists that Uganda is still safe. We can access other tourism sites across the country. In Kidepo in the east, we have tourism sites in the north that offer similar services. And the government of Uganda, I think, assures the tourists of the security. So we are hopeful that tourism will be developed under the local government's involvement at this moment, because previously we used to raise issues, we raise matters, so we are not involved directly. But since tourism is also, one of getting it to be a decentralized service, especially as we provide these grants, so it becomes pertinent that local governments will contribute to its development. We'll ensure that we have hotels, guest houses that meet the standards of the tourism sector. So, and this is all the role of local governments to ensure enforcement, in this matter. And so that is one of the things. So the other thing that we were able to also engage government on, especially for those people that have children with special needs, we had a challenge where I think their financing was too low. For example, in primary schools, each pupil government was providing 22,000. So during the negotiations with the Ministry of Education and Sports, we were able to secure a commitment. The government would increase this to 70,000, per pupil. And for those in secondary, from about 197 to 250,000. So those, small increments make a lot of difference. And we are hopeful that in the near future, government will implement these commitments, and then we will continue getting the monies. The other issue, we were starting the show, I mentioned about the 738 point, about 6 billion that was returned to the consolidated fund as unspent balances. So at the end of the financial year, these were swept off the local government's account. So through our engagement with the Ministry of Finance, with the Office of the Prime Minister, so the Prime Minister, guided and ordered that this money should be released in the first quarter. But through our discussions with the Ministry of Finance and stakeholders, Ministry of Local Government, also involved in this process, the Local Government Finance Commission, and a number of stakeholders. So we engaged, and we are able, as I mentioned now, all the local governments that had unspent balances swept off have been reverted, onto the local government's accounts. And we have now a commitment that by the first month of the second quarter of the new financial year, all the swept off funds that were unspent should be reverted to the local government accounts, such that we can have services provided. So out of that amount, about the 738 billion, 49% of that was money intended for staff wages and salaries. So that brings in now another perspective of our advocacy in terms of lifting the ban.
For lifting the ban, because that's the issue at hand. Let's start from this point. Government announced it will not be recruiting staff on contract because there were no finances to sustain that effect. And this was declared by Ramadan Gobi, Permanent Secretary to the Treasury. But in his circular, he just said, he warned that accounting officers should not employ workers unless they're replacing the staff members that were there. But it's like ULGA is saying, the ministry said no recruiting at all. Yet, in the circular by Ramadan Gobi, he said you can recruit if you are replacing somebody. If the position was there, it means the finances were planned already. So you can go ahead and recruit if you're replacing. But what the ministry or government is not okay with is bringing new staff members. You are suggesting that government lifts a ban on the recruiting staff members, because one of the reasons is that some of these local government offices are vacant. But that is not what the circular was saying. The circular was clear. You can recruit if we are getting it right. So help us explain from an expert's point of view so that we understand.
So in trying, I think, to dissect the issue of the old or ban on recruitment of staff, and we really appreciate the permanent secretary to the Treasury, for that guidance. But you see, even on recruitment on replacement basis is not happening. So you cannot replace, and there are staff that have retired, there are staff that have passed on, and it becomes extremely difficult for local governments to recruit. And that's why I'm telling you about 348 billion. Went back to the consolidated fund because of a failure to recruit. The wage is available, but the local governments could not recruit. And you see, even in recruitment on a replacement basis, it cannot happen all through the year. So there are staff that will retire, there are staff that will die, for example, in the month of March, April, May. You cannot recruit. You do not have the time to allow you recruit. And the public service standing orders will tell you cannot recruit within that period. Whereas it would have been so our recommendation would be, so once a staff retires or the place runs vacant, then we should immediately start on the process and recruit there and then. But you see, the Ministry of Public Service will tell you from April to June you cannot recruit, even on replacement basis. So I will not hesitate to mention that the staffing levels in the local governments, there are some local governments that are at about 70% level of staffing. But there are those that are even at below 30% level of staffing. So that means you do not have the critical staff, you do not have the strategic staff. So you cannot deliver services to the population. And when I talk of these strategic positions, I'm talking about heads of departments. I'm talking about engineers. I'm talking about district water, natural resources officers.
So pivotal people.
Pivotal, those that are critical, to providing services. The ones that will come and inspect, structures, the ones that will come and do water quality testing to ensure that the quality of water that the citizens will access and drink is safe. These are not in the local governments. We do not have planners. A number of local governments do not have, substantive district planners. So, and this affects the way we plan as a local governments, affects the way we deliver services if we do not have these critical positions. So we have a number of programs like the parish development model. And this requires a lot of local government support for us to be able to ensure that it generates the outcomes for which it is intended. But you see, without staff to monitor the process, without staff to monitor this strategy, it is quite a good strategy. Without, so for now I'll restrict myself to staffing. So without parish chiefs, because we would have loved 100%, and it is our prayer that we have 100% parish chiefs recruited. Because it is happening, the PDM is happening at the parish level. So if we do not have 100%, because I think we are currently at about 60% level of staffing for parish chiefs. So we need to move to about 100%, such that we ensure that the parish chiefs can be able to monitor and ensure that the PDM is functional. And then you talk about extension workers. We are at about 60% extension workers in this country. PDM has a lot of connection to agriculture under the first pillar. Looks at agriculture. So and there are a lot of activities and people in circles that are involved in agricultural production. So without the extension workers in place, it becomes extremely hard for you to provide extension services. Yes, we want to appreciate government, and through our engagements that initially, the beginning of this financial year 2023-24, I think there was an omission on the extension grant, services grant, so under the production and marketing grant. So, but our government, through the discussions, has now released about, I think, 36 billion to support agriculture extension services. So that is a credit. But can we also recruit? Can we, lift this suspension, this ban on recruitment, so we can recruit extension workers? We really understand that the Office of the Auditor General has been conducting the human resource audit. Yes, this has been going on. We are aware. There are reports. There is a report that has been produced, a draft, and then a number of entities, local government. General's report? Yes, especially on the human resource audit, because they are the ones mandated to undertake that audit. So that audit has been going on, and a number of local governments and also central government ministries have been issued with management letters. So they are responding to some of the queries that the Auditor General is raising. But can we fast track this process? Because we cannot have the human resource audit go on for long. We really recognize that there are some local governments that are things that coming out of the press not painting a good picture, where we've had ghost workers, and it is a very unfortunate and regrettable incidents happening in the local governments, and we want to call on the local governments that are involved in all those malpractices, in the recruitment of ghost workers, to really stop this habit, because the taxpayers lose a lot of money to this. But can we bring an end to the audit process? We cannot have an audit go on for 1 year, then we get into another year. So while citizens are expecting roads, while citizens are expecting to have schools, better schools built, providing services, while we are expecting access to clean and safe water, so we need to have a stopping point.
Okay, so as ULGA, your advice to the public service as well as Ministry of Finance would be to lift the ban immediately, not even to wait for maybe 2024, 2025?
We are not saying immediately. That's why we are appreciating the process that it is taking. But can we fast track the process? Can we expedite, such that we can draw, you see the citizens of Uganda that are going to vote in 2026, they are waiting for services, they're not looking at, and when they come to the district, they're demanding for services. They're like, why aren't the roads being fixed? Why, are wetlands being encroached on? Why is the quality of education not so well? Why are teachers not in class? Why don't we have health workers, in the health centers? Why don't we have medicines? So the citizen is interested in the service. So, and for us, we are interested in the people that provide the service. So if there have been malpractices, we've had challenges, we've had ghost workers, so can we finalize the process and then ensure that we have staff recruited on replacement basis for those local governments that add wage, to recruit the critical staff? Let them recruit the critical staff. So there are some local governments, for example, that are at below 30% level of staffing. So can we have the Auditor General prioritize some of these local governments and say, hey, this is your report, you've responded to the management letter, these were the findings, I think we are satisfied with your response, or we are not, and then we have a way forward such that these local governments can recruit and be able to raise to a substantive, percentage, maybe at 70%, so they can we can support implementation of government programs, like the parish development model. So we cannot see government money go to waste. The longer we take undertaking the audit, and not concluding on it, we continue losing monies in the local governments there. The monies in local governments will continue being unspent, and they will return to the consolidated fund. So can we put this money to use? The people dying of hunger, can we put the money into extension services such that we can provide extension services, we can guide our farmers on how to fight pests and diseases that attack crops and animals. So we need to have, I think, an end to the process. We are not saying government should compromise on the process. We appreciate it is a fundamental process such that we can clean our payroll. And it is our plea, because there are those staff that keep receiving monies, especially the ghosts, and they're not in place. It means also taxpayers' money is not being put to waste. But can we also conclude this process and ensure that recruitment happens? Okay,
I believe this was under some of the challenges that you are facing as an association. And so my next question would be, if we've exhausted the challenges, then we would go to what should be done to mitigate these challenges, or what have you tried to do to mitigate these challenges?
So, as local governments in Uganda, local governments continue to struggle to provide services. And local governments are not seated amidst the many challenges, amidst the declining budgets, amidst the declining local revenues, amidst the human resource challenges. Local governments have continued to provide services, working in those conditions. You see, we had a salary enhancement for science staff, I would call them. And this has also caused a bit of demoralization. And I understand, the president, of course, is giving priority to the scientists. But you see, for people that did not study sciences, let's say at that higher level, I think they studied in the same classes, and some of the people that did not study sciences are actually critical staff. They are critical, cadres needed to provide services in this country. So you need both to be able to survive. You need the scientists, and then you need the people that studied the humanities to be able to manage the scientists. So if I am managing the science, because if you just deployed the scientists to implement without the humanities guys to supervise them, we might land into trouble in this country. We might have chaos. We might have people producing things that are not worth, consuming by the citizens. So, and we are asking government, can we enhance salaries for all public servants across the board? We may not get to the levels of the scientists, but can we enhance? Because these civil servants, they buy foodstuffs from the same markets, they buy the same fuel, they go to the same schools, So can we enhance the salaries for all the other cadres, such that we have a motivation? We have a lot of demotivation issues happening, and we cannot bury our heads under the sun and claim that this is not happening. There are teachers that do not go to classes. There are teachers that, and this is very unfortunate. So we've been, of course, tasking the head teachers to ensure that teachers go to class. But you see, even a teacher being in class, teaching while not motivated, they will not care so much. So can we enhance, their salaries across the board? We also have political leaders, whose remuneration is really, really horrible. So can we also look at the local government leaders, from the district chairpersons, the district speakers? We have the chief administrative officers. You cannot imagine how much money these people earn. A chief administrative officer earning, about 1.5 million, and he manages billions of monies in a local government. And, we are still dilly-dallying around their enhancement. Look at a permanent secretary at the national level. that earns over 10 million. And look at this chief administrative officer down there, struggling with local governments, directly engaging with citizens. When the RDC calls for a baraza, it is the cow, that explains if there are any, differences in the monies. So the president will say, we sent this amount of money, 100 million, to support PDM. What was it used for? The cow is the first contact person. But, how are they paid? Okay. They have statisticians that are paid 3 times or 4 times better than they are paid. I know that, someone being paid a higher pay than you, the supervisor, should not demoralize you. But you see, we are humans.
That's true.
We cannot keep running away from this. And this happens to all of us. We would want to be paid, a bit of an equivalent, a bit of what is commensurate to the work that we do. So can we have an enhancement? We can start with we can do it in a phased manner. Say, okay, can we start with look at the politicians? Can we start with the district chairperson, the district speakers? Can we look at the chief administrative officers as a key technical staff, over the local governments? Can we enhance their salaries such that they can monitor, they are interested? Because we are going to end up having a situation where many of them are submitting in early retirement. Because it is becoming demoralizing.
All right. Thank you so much. So far, so good. Let's first take a very short break. Of course, we are looking at ULGA'S appeal to lift the ban on recruitment of staff for local governments, but also other issues concerning local governments and our societies in general. My name is Carol. I'm here with RichardOkuku from ULGA, and he's taking us through our program today. We will be right back. We are sponsored by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes should not perish but have eternal life.
Because once Christ warns about something, it calls for attention as believers. When God warns us about something, it means that we are susceptible to it.
Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. Together, we build strong, healthy, and thriving families with our daily dose of inspiration and expert insights on topics that matter, like education and career growth.
Education deals with the minds of our younger children.
We want to see role model schools.
Family health.
Well, the public is advised to follow the Ministry of Health guidelines.
Finance and wealth.
As the government, as a parliament, we can plug those gaps so that the money that we collect from the wananchi give value to the wananchi.
Leadership and governance.
Leadership, I think, requires unity, people being united. Dear viewers, I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, from whom all blessings flow. You know, whatever we are going through, prayer is very, very important. Without prayer, whatever we do either backfire, misfire, or makes no fire. It's because of that background that the Provincial Prayer Convention has been planned by the Church of Uganda, calling the church and a nation for a time of prayer. This is set from 22nd to 25th November. 22nd to 25th November at Uganda Matters site, Namugongo, which is the Anglican site. And the theme is very, very important. To whom shall we go? You will be blessed. You never remain the same. I want to invite you to come and participate from 22nd to 25th November. Uganda Matters site, Namugongo, is the place. But it's very important also to pray for this prayer convention. Also very important to support financially. It's very important to support in whichever way, so that this convention of 22nd to 25th November will be successful. Welcome. God bless you. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Like you've heard it, Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe, in case you are looking for comfort and luxury at its best. We're still here discussing ULGA'S mandate and how far they've gone and exactly what they are doing to keep the local governments going, but also the programs, different programs of government going. And we are in studio with RichardOkuku, Secretary General, Uganda Local Government Association, and he's taking us through the discussion. Now, my first question would be the roads rehabilitation grant, where each local government received 1 billion shillings to rehabilitate the roads and have better roads for themselves and the community around them. How far with this project?
That's a good one. That's a good question, and I think I want to inform the citizens out there that we really are so happy and appreciative to the President, because when we presented our position papers, we presented the papers and made a request to the President to have the roads rehabilitated, and the President approved of this. And we want to also appreciate Parliament of Uganda for approving the money within the budget. So for all the 176 local governments in Uganda, they've received the 1 billion. So this money was supposed to serve the purpose of roads rehabilitation.
Okay.
And it is for that intention that it was approved, for the financial year 2023-2024. But on the 27th of July 2023, Parliament of Uganda made resolutions that changed the name of the grant from roads rehabilitation to roads maintenance grant. And so to our viewer out there, you may be wondering what's the difference between roads rehabilitation and then roads maintenance. Because we have a problem at the local government level. We are confused on how to proceed. And our permanent secretary in the Ministry of Local Government also wrote to the local governments guiding that we implement as per the parliamentary resolution. But with rehabilitation, you can use about 49 million to open a road, to put culverts in the road, because these are roads that have really, really been broken. They cannot be used. They are impassable. They were last worked upon, rehabilitated about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And you want to open them up. You want to widen them to their original shape. You want to put culverts. So it is intensive, work intensive. And His Excellency, in his wisdom, after I think a study, realized that the status of roads in local governments required roads rehabilitation and not maintenance, because the maintenance keeps happening under the Uganda Road Fund. And so he secured the 1 billion for each local government. And then you see Parliament comes in and then they say, let it change to roads rehabilitation. This is the scenario, that the budgets were approved under roads rehabilitation in the local governments. So the local governments uploaded the budgets on the PBS, the public budget budgeting system. So it's on the PBS. And then local governments went ahead to warrant. So they warranted on the IFMS. They warranted this money as roads rehabilitation under development. And you see, road maintenance falls under recurrent expenditure.
Okay.
So when if roads maintenance falls under roads recurrent expenditure, it becomes extremely hard for you then to change it from rehabilitation to a recurrent expenditure, to maintenance. So you cannot tamper with the IFMS system. It is already warranted and approved, and then you also have it uploaded under the PBS. So when we receive this communication from the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Local Government, emphasizing the need for us to go ahead and implement as per Parliament resolution, how do you then spend the money? Because the initial guidelines we got from the Ministry of Works were on roads rehabilitation, and they were clear. And so a number of local governments have gone ahead to even start rehabilitating. So as I speak now, local governments have 500 million of the 1 billion. They have 500 million. Some of the local governments, the money is still stuck on their accounts. They have not spent a coin. And you know what happens at the end of the financial year? This money will be swept off. And then the citizens will be demanding, but you see, how do you return this money to the consolidated fund, yet our roads are in a poor state? Because citizens are interested in going to school, they're interested in accessing health centers, they're interested in accessing their workplaces, their business premises. So for you, a local government failing to work on these roads causes problems. So 2026, you're going to have a problem where, over maybe 90% of the politicians at the local government level will never come back, will never contest, because they are failing to deliver. But is it a fault on part of the local governments? No. So you look at the system comprehensively, and we've been, I think, out there, we've had an engagement with Ministry of Works, and we made the resolution that the Ministry of Works should write and guide the local governments on how to proceed. And if that should be the case, and then Ministry of Finance is also the Permanent Secretary and Secretary to the Treasury receives this notice and the guideline on how we are going to proceed. Maybe the Ministry of Finance can find a way of changing the system, or allowing local governments to change the system on the IFMS, the warrants, to turn into, I don't know how that can happen. But this has been our recommendation. Can we proceed for the financial year 2023-24 and undertake roads rehabilitation as per the roads approved by the council? So, of course, the resolution of Parliament also tasks the members of Parliament to participate, to attend the roads committees. And already a number of members of Parliament are attending these roads committees, which is a good thing. And the roads, a number of roads that were supposed to be worked upon were approved. So can local governments proceed? After all, the local government council is the highest policy organ, in the local government. Okay. It makes the final decision. So can we already start working on these roads through the rehabilitation? Then for the financial year 2024-25, when we are well prepared, because this communication and resolution from Parliament came 1 month already into the financial year, on 27th of July. Already into the financial year we are implementing. So that a resolution was made. Can we rehabilitate the roads? Of course, the challenge, the difference is also that with the maintenance, it's just you patch up where there are potholes, and then you set up such that the road is in a motorable state, people can continue using it, and then it can work on a number of kilometers. So about 3 million can cater for a kilometer, about 6 million. So yet rehabilitation, you may use up over 40 million. So And, so the members of parliament, in their wisdom, I think they're looking at the kilometers, having many more kilometers worked upon. But you see, looking at the status of roads in the local governments requires rehabilitation. So can we, for this first year, 2023-24, rehabilitate the roads? Then 2024-25, we get into maintenance, because we will have clear communication. We will not be in this ping-pong, kind of, disorganization that we are facing. We are out here now in the media, saying, government, please, let's do rehabilitation. And then the Auditor General, of course, will come in at the end of the financial while doing the audit. They'll come and say, so under which guidelines did you implement? We recognize the Ministry of Works, because it is the line ministry. The Ministry of Work guidelines indicated rehabilitation. So now you've gone ahead with the maintenance, So, and how do we even move if the systems, the PBS, the IFMS system has not been changed? How do we move? So can we implement as per rehabilitation? Okay. And then in the coming year, we can do maintenance, and then the other year we can also do maintenance of the roads that we have fixed.
Okay. And you also mentioned tourism. We have 5 minutes to go, and I was thinking maybe you advise on how, because we're losing a lot of money now, tourism-wise, after that incident.
Yes.
How can the country redeem itself, its name out there, and get back to the level where we were at?
So for me, this is what I would want to propose, that as Ugandans, let's not demonize our country. Let's not cause unnecessary tension. Let's not, create an image, an impression out there, to the tourists out there, that we seem to be in any kind of under attack, because this will ultimately affect us all. I am here on Family TV,
yes,
pleading with government, increase your allocations to local governments, give us more money, procure vehicles for district chairpersons and cows and speakers, because we need to monitor PDM, we need to monitor these services, because if our district chairpersons do not have vehicles, they are using border borders, they are jumping in taxis, they cannot monitor public services. So I am here, requesting government to provide transport means. Where does the money come from? It is from the tourists that come in that give us revenue. So if we speak bad of our country and we stop the tourists from coming, we will not get the revenue. And we know tourism is one of the largest contributors to GDP. So can we become ambassadors of good news, ambassadors of goodwill, that speak well about our country, that promote our country? We know the incident happened. Yes, it is a fact. We cannot run away from it. But can we speak of the positive? Can we pick out the positives? We have other tourism sites. We have the Maction Falls National Park, the beauty that is in there. I mean, you cannot exhaust it in a day or a week. You need a month probably for you to be able to exhaust the beauty that lies in there, the animals that are in there, the flora and fauna, the birds that are in there. So we have the Kidepo Valley National Park. Is it not secure? It is secure. All these are secure. We have other parks. And you see, in our negotiations with the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities and the Uganda Wildlife Authority, so there are plans to establish regional zoos.
Okay.
And so we are going to work together as local governments and the Ministry of Wildlife and Antiquities to ensure that we have zoos established in these different centers, because these zoos are also tourism sites. There's some animals that you will find are kept in the zoos. So can we work together as Ugandans to promote this country, to set a good image out there? Let's become spokespersons of this country, rather than speaking ill of this, so that's what I call on. And for the local governments, let's promote tourism. Let's move in together. There are revenues that come from tourism sites that we share, with the Uganda Wildlife Authority. So the more we get tourists, the gate collections increase, and that means also our allocation, our share increases. So let's work together with the bodies of government to improve services, and for government of Uganda, let's embrace the changes. The proposals that we make, let's ensure that these proposals, are met, and where we need to discuss, let's engage continuously to ensure that we serve our people better, because the population of Uganda deserves better services than we are currently providing to them in the local governments, due to a number of challenges that I raised this morning.
Wow, thank you so much for giving us your time, RichardOkuku, top economist and Secretary General, Uganda Local Governments Association. We thank you so much for your time, and we hope that you will be back one day. Also, thank you so much for our viewers, for being on the show from where we started until now. You can also follow the conversation on our social media platforms. That's at Church of Uganda Family TV on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and also YouTube, where we shall post these subsequent videos so you can comment, like, and share. My name is Carol. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. We'll see you tomorrow, same station, same time. Bye-bye.
Issues at Hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives.